Let me see. We rocking. Perfecto. Khan A. Shalom. First, let us give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakakadash. Yahweh, who the world ignorantly calls God, Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus. Want to give it up honor to the apostles, great millstone has told me this truth. Want to give a peace and blessings to the Akim across the four corners of the earth who teaches truth and rest like to do so. It's like it's going to be a cool video. Lord, video is edifying. Lord, I can get something from this video. Before I go into, I'm going to get a couple of precepts on Isaiah 14. Basically showing that the Lord chose, is choosing Israel. And it's evident that the so-called black man, so-called Native American man, so-called Latino man are standing up in these these latter days, teaching and preaching his word. And the ones who got the truth are on one accord. It's not a coincidence. That's prophecy. Okay, that's contrary to popular belief. That's prophecy. That's what it is. That was said to happen, because scriptures say what? In our captivity, we should remember ourselves. So, let me just grab that. Ooh-wee. Salakia, brethren. Salakia. This is Baruch 2. And I'm at 30. It says, "For I know that they will not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people, but in the land of their captivities they shall remember themselves." And is America not one of the land of our captivities? Jake is scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, being north, east, south, and west. Wherever we're at, we're in enemy territory because we're not in our land. One of the curses is that we'll be scattered across the four corners of the earth. So what do you get from that, right? You get Israelite foreigners, right? But you also get, on the flip side, you also get a lot of wicked Jakes that follow after the heathen, okay? A lot of Gentile, Jake in the Gentile state of mind, just like we was in America before we got this truth, okay? But just, in America, not just in America, which America is that's where it's going, that's where the showdown gonna happen. You got bros in Europe, you got bros in Canada, you got bros in Mexico, you got bros on the islands, everywhere, teaching and preaching his word. That's waking up to who they are as a people. Again, that has not been done, okay? When has that been done? And don't think for 1 second that these higher-ups are nervous. You know what I'm saying? Because the more we rise up, Salakia, brethren. The more we rise up, the more the kingdom fall, and you see this falling. You see it's falling, man. You see rulership, power is going to have to change, man. The people is yearning for it. The earth is yearning for it. Man, we got a greedy monster in power right now. You know what I mean? That's what it is. And the world is in shambles because of that. Okay, but when the righteous men get back in order, I was like, get back, when the righteous men rule the earth, it's going to be different. A lot different. You know what I mean? As the scriptures say, okay? But let's get this. Without further ado, let's get into it. This is Baruch 2 and 30. It says, "For I know that they will not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people, but in the land of their captivities they shall remember themselves, and shall know that I am the Lord Yahweh, their power, for I will give them an heart and ears to hear." And what does that go with? The Lord chooses his men. You don't choose the Lord. The Lord chooses the man. Those who try to choose God end up in church. Right? The Lord chooses, man. Okay? But you tell the average person that, oh, no, I'm saved, I'm this and I'm that. And they think they know how to serve the Lord. They don't know how to serve the Lord. They don't know nothing about nothing. You know what I mean? They just been taught and chasing after motivational speeches. You know what I'm saying? Something to make them feel good. But when you tell the truth is bitter. That's why most people can't handle it. Because in their head, God can't be like that. God can't do this. God ain't nothing that the Most High can't do. You know what I mean? You just don't understand the scriptures. Period. You know, they think it's God versus the devil. Nah, the devil worked for the Most High. Okay? Remember that. This is a Baruch 2. So like, I'm tired, man. Baruch 2 and 31. But work has to be done, period, man. The work has to be done. We have to push, period. Right? Because guess what? When nobody was there, guess who was there? The Lord. It's truth. You was at your lowest, guess who was there? The Lord. You know what I mean? When you needed help, guess who was there? The Lord. Guess who the Lord sent? The Lord sent somebody to help you. You know? Whether it was a brother, whether it was a stranger, whoever. Right? So at the end of the day, you know, we owe. We in debt. Here are the things that you forgot about, man. You gotta think about it. The Lord knows the numbers of hairs on your head, man. You know what I mean? He's not as men is, you know what I mean? Like man forget, man go back on their word. The Lord said that his word don't return unto him void. It's gonna accomplish whatever he wanted to accomplish. Okay? Baruch 2 and 31. It shall know that I'm the Lord, their power, for I will give them and harden ears to hear, and they shall praise me in the land of their captivity and think upon my name. What's the Father name? Yahweh. What's the Son name? Yahweh Shai. Okay, it says, and return from their stiff neck and from their wicked deeds, for they shall remember the way of their fathers, which sinned before the Lord, and I will bring them again into the land which I promised with an oath unto their fathers, Abraham, Isaac, Salakia. With an oath unto their fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and they shall be lords of it, and I will increase them, and they shall not be diminished. Okay, because right now, are we not diminished? Are we not in subjection? Are we not being ruled over? Is our face on a dollar? Can we call shots? Do we have a bank? Do we use usury on the heathen? So last time I checked, you know what I mean, Jake is still a slave in this world. You know what I mean? But some Jake, that's all they want to be. Not us. Not us. 35, it says, and I will make an everlasting covenant with them to be their power, and they shall be my people, and I will no more drive my people of Israel out of the land that I have given them. And again, we got driven out that land. It was part of the curses. We went off. Okay? We went off, and we basically got subject to the heathen, which are all confederate against each other. Yeah, I mentioned this in the last video or the video before that, but, you know, it was a post going around, and they said, although the nations were arguing and they had disagreements on certain things, they all agreed upon one thing. And what was that? Putting Israel into captivity. And the fact that y'all think that it's not going to be a consequence for that, oh, man. Man. You are sadly mistaken. You are sadly mistaken. This is Isaiah 14:1. It says, for the Lord Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob, and when he had choose Israel and set them in their own land, which proves we're not in the land right now, as a whole. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. Right? It says, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord Yahweh for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. When you go to Revelation 13:9-10, it says, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Esau did both of those. So not only is he going into captivity, but His society is failing. Okay, his society is failing. These people are not godly at all, man. They don't implement the laws of the Most High, and they got the power. But it goes to show you they implement what they want. They do what they want, whatever's beneficial for them. Okay, because what? Esau's in his heaven. That's what it is. This is This is 3. Isaiah 14:3 says, and it shall come to pass in the day of the Lord Yahweh shall, in the day that the Lord Yahweh shall give thee rest from thy sorrow and from thy fear and from the hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve. Jacob was made to serve hard bondage. Every nation. The scriptures say there has not been a nation basically done like Jerusalem. You know what I mean? These people that mocked at us, talk shit about us. You got Jake that was in the 2/3 mentality and they knew that they were Israelites. How much more now when they don't even believe nothing? You know what I mean? It's wild, man. But hey, the Lord kept, set aside, a cluster for them, some grapes. You know what I mean? And then you got wild grapes, which is these niggas. You know what I mean? So, with Jake, the majority of Jake ain't gonna get right to the kingdom. And that's just something you're gonna have to accept. Okay? It says, that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how hath the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. The Lord Yahweh hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger and is persecuted and none hindereth. Okay? Esau did all this, man. Yeah, this is guilty. You know what I mean? This motherfucker vicious. And you should see how the higher ups get down, man. You should see how the higher ups go. Oh, man. They practice and sacrifice to demons, man. Because they're demons themselves. They don't have a lick of righteousness in them. It's not, again, like, it's not beneficial to them in their eyes. Which they're not Israelites anyway. You know what I mean? But hey, when you go into Wisdom of Solomon, the 2nd chapter, it gives you the whole mind frame of how they think. Okay? They want to live lewdly. They want to greed. It's a big thing, man. You know what I mean? We had a welfare system back in Israel. You know what I'm saying? Hey, we're supposed to leave grapes for those who are poor. Not only did Esau take the grapes, he took the grapes, the stem, the dirt, the land, all that, man. You know what I mean? As if the Lord don't see what you're doing, but the Lord see what you're doing. Okay? And that's why your society is falling. And it's going to continue to fall, and continue to fall, and continue to fall. Okay? And the more your society fall, the more we could be uplifted. You know what I'm saying? The more we could, the closer we are to us ruling. Lord willing, I'll be, one of those men. Okay? Let me see. Let me jump down to 16. It says, they that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble and did shake kingdoms, that made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof? That opened not the house of his prisoners? Hey, how did America get rich? Was traffic. You know what I'm saying? I traffic Israelites, man. The true biblical Israelites lied to them. Lied to them so good that these niggas, they still, when they pray, they thinking about white Jesus. You know what I mean? But again, the Lord don't want everybody. So I understand that. You know what I mean? It's a chosen few. Scripture say what? He had care for his elect. Okay? He has care for his elect. That's what it's, You know, it's part of what it's about. You know what I mean? You know, after Yahweh Shai, you know what I mean? So you just got to endure to the end. The Lord said, "Hope will you have until you come." You know what I mean? We just finished with the Passover, and you know, I've been hearing sirens and ambulance all day, man. So judgment is definitely going out. You know what I mean? We just pray that the Lord pass over our house. You know what I mean? Have mercy upon us. You know what I mean? That's what you should pray for. You know what I mean? So, Lord willing, the video is edifying only. I can got something from this video and give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Kakadash. Until let's keep pushing over to the next Shalom.